At Boss, we have a manifesto. We're not just tool makers, we're time liberators. Consider us the intersection of efficiency and innovation. Our mission here is simple. We build new age tools that allow you to work smarter, not harder, because in life, every minute counts. Every tool we make is purpose-built to flip the script. We should all work to live, not live to work. Why? Because we believe in the American dream. We believe in the American worker, and we believe in America the idea. Build a better future faster with Boss. Hi guys, just want to welcome you to this next episode of Born Here, Built Here. My name is Dan Raymond, and I've got a new acquaintance here. His name is Corey Haubs, soon to be a friend. We'll build on this friendship. Corey is the owner of IRD Homes out of Vassar, Michigan. So Corey, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you've been, where you're at, and where you're going.
That's a lot, Dan.
It is. We've got time though.
I don't know if I have time. Who scheduled a podcast on a Monday? I've been running around with my head cut off today.
I would have to agree with you. Monday, I've got 4 more Mondays to go. That's what I tell people. So yeah, they do get hectic.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I say every day is a Monday because it's just being self-employed, putting fires out. So we're celebrating 20 years next year of IRD Homes. So we're excited about that. Full construction company out of Vassar. We were in Frankenmuth originally, and it's been a journey. And from there, we've kind of grown a little bit. We also have our landscape division. We started excavating division this year as well. So
you've got 3 businesses that you're involved in.
Yeah.
20 years with home construction.
Yep.
And you've got landscaping and excavation.
Yes.
How many employees overall?
26. Yeah. So would never thought we'd even be close to this.
You've got to have some pretty wild stories with 26 employees. I mean, with the labor market today, it definitely gets eye-opening or trying, to say the least, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. We've gone through the process. We went through a phase that anybody that came in the door, we're like, hey, you want a job? You can start tomorrow. But growing a reputation and seeking good people, we've gone through a better process now, and we're a little choosy now of who joins our team and our family.
So what would you say? What's the bare minimums an employee has to bring to the table?
Yeah.
To entice you to at least give them an opportunity to prove their worth?
Family driven, and I think very conscious of what they're doing. We're not looking for somebody that just to swing a hammer or just go through the motion. We want somebody that's conscious of what they're doing, conscious of who they're working with, and just a good representative of people. I mean, that's all we can ask. But that's hard to find too. We don't know until they get on the job. They might sound good in the interview, but
right. There can always be that honeymoon period. Guys, they really, really go and then they drop off. But back to the point about somebody with family values or family driven. I remember years ago working for a contractor out of Flint, Michigan, and he always loved it when he found out the guys were married. They just bought a new truck, a house, the refrigerator's blown, because what would that mean? That would mean they'd have to show up each and every day to earn a paycheck, right?
Yeah.
Somebody's got to pay for it, and the burden was on them. So you've got that many employees. How many of them are involved in each business, or do they overlap?
Seasonally, some of them overlap because, we're in Michigan, so we have our landscaping division. We have that kind of in between seasons between our green industry and our snow season. Not everybody looks forward to snow, but Michigan, we're gonna plow snow. So we got 13 plow trucks that we get out there, primarily do commercial snow plowing. So in between, guys are either wrenching on equipment or they might have to come IRD. The guys helped strip a roof the other day, or they might haul equipment for us to another job. It all depends. So.
Now the good guys have no objections to the overlap, right? They'll do. That's back to that family thing, right? You got a little kid at home that needs diapers or baby formula. They'll do whatever, right? They'll go out in them cold winter nights and plow snow and pound nails during the day, right?
They'll do whatever needs to be done. So for themselves and for their family, and they're buying into what we have, our cores that we have at our office. So they know our clients and our. A lot of our clients become our friends. I mean,
right.
That's what's exciting about us. We create a relationship with everybody, and it's just like I always tell the guys. I said, imagine if this is your mom or your grandma.
Right.
That's the level of detail and commitment that I want you to have. So
right.
a
decency commitment. You want to do a good job that their mom or grandma would be proud of, right?
Yeah.
So what time does your day typically start? If a guy says, I want to be, I give you a laugh out of that because I can laugh about it.
Yeah.
A guy says, hey, I want to be successful. I want to make it in small town America.
Yeah.
I want to do more for myself and my family. What type of time commitment, realistically, do they have to make? Can they make it getting up at 10 o'clock in the morning, showing up at 11 on the job, golfing at 3 or 4, or is it a earlier time commitment and then a later time commitment than that?
Yeah, it's definitely not a 9 to 5 commitment. When we first started out, before we got in construction, I used to do these small little picture frames for a lady on Etsy, and I did 4,000 of them for her. But those 4,000 picture frames that I did for her business generated enough money for me to get enough tools to start the construction side of it. So, but I did my normal job, and I did this thing for a year and a half. And it's not what you do from 9 to 5. It's what you do from 6 to 9 or 5 to, sometimes I stay up to 2 o'clock. And
right.
In my younger days, in my late 20s or 30s, it wasn't 3, 4 o'clock. And then I'd get back up at 6 o'clock and start over again.
Right.
Those are some rough days. Or, even snow plowing. We'll get up at 3 o'clock, snow plow. We'll work all day. Do some office work after work.
Right.
And then, try to squeeze a nap in. But
right.
Yeah, there's no shutting it off.
Where you got Bob, yeah. What you do to succeed, and good for you.
Yeah.
90+% of the men out there won't do it. They do not have that drive to go out there and be successful. I think a lot of people, I was driving down the road today and I was thinking about this. They've lost their ability to dream about what they could do if they just would make the commitments and do what it takes. So once again, good for you.
Well, I appreciate it. But, I always say success is not always the same for myself or for you or for the guys that are here even. Success is whatever you want it to be, right?
Right.
For me, success was putting the time in, building relationships, building the brand, going the extra mile. But that's not the case for everybody. And that's where, our small entrepreneur or small businesses, we need guys like us to implement those things in our communities.
So it sounds to me like you've paid the price. You're established in the market.
Yeah.
Do you have to go out and do you have to pound the pavement for leads or generate leads somehow? Or are there more calls or emails or word of mouth? How do you get your business?
So we brought Jess on a year and a half ago, and she kind of oversees our marketing, which has been kind of weird because we don't apply any marketing dollars to what she does other than what she does for us internally. So we really have been fortunate. We've had not, with our small, there's only, we're in Vassar, so there's only 2,900 people, and you take the kids out of it, and there's less than 2,000 people. There's not a lot of population in our small area, so we've been pretty fortunate just by word of mouth. And it's just those relations we do, the quality of the work, the consciousness of our staff, and we just go in, and we're fortunate that we just get those not cold calls, but we get those referral leads. That's the majority of what our business.
Like I had said to you earlier prior to the podcast, I see your signs all over the place now. And that's good. I mean, that's part of getting it out there, realizing that somebody's there that you can get a hold of, and they too can handle tasks that maybe I, as a homeowner, could not handle.
Yeah.
So do you do most of the estimating yourself, or do you have an estimating staff on board?
We have an estimator. I do a lot of project management, or I try to oversee like the final details, because that's what's important to me, is like those little details that separate us from the next person. I walked into the jobs the other day, and the guys are tiling a backsplash, and I wasn't able to get there early, and I would have done. It looks beautiful. Nobody would know, but I just, the OCD in me sometimes be like, I'm like, we could have moved that tile a half inch, and they're like, are you serious? I'm like, I'm honest to serious. This is, move it over a half inch. It's just like, like your drop ceilings, if you don't got your layout right. And you're,
being in the acoustical business for over 40 years, I walk in and I look up at a ceiling. If they miss the border cuts or there's a sag in a ceiling, it just drives me nuts. I go out to eat with my wife, and I'm cocking my head from side to side, and she looks at me like, you're an idiot, Dan. Maybe I am. I don't know. I goes, that ain't right.
Yeah.
That's out of square. That's out of plumb. That's not level. But I think that's just, when you're in the trade, you notice stuff like that.
And it's not good because sometimes it drives me nuts. You know, you're at dinner and you should be enjoying dinner with your wife, and you're looking at the ceiling, you're like, oh man, that's
bad. I got to get that fixed. It's a reflection on me.
Yeah, I was at the job this morning, and we're doing this ICF wall, insulated concrete form in this house in Saginaw. And I noticed they were supposed to plumb all the walls up, and I walked up there, and I noticed there was a little wave in that wall, and I'm like, I'm not gonna say anything and see what's. And then before I left, they're like, well, I said, get all the walls plumbed up, and they're like, all of them but this one wall here. The wall that I noticed, and they're like, because we leaned some rebar against it, so it pushed the wall in a little. So they're like, we got to get that level all plumbed up before we leave today. I'm like, okay, well, as long as you guys noticed it and you brought it attention, they didn't try to hide anything. So.
Right. With the podcast here, our commitment is to talking the trades and promoting the trades. Mm-hmm. Are you seeing more young men and women at least approaching you? Or are you hearing of more young folks maybe out there in the neighborhood looking for jobs in the construction world, in the trades? What do you think?
I think it's a mix right now. I think it's pro construction, pro blue collar. You know, 20 years ago when we went through school, they really pushed college. I mean, prerequisites to college prep classes, and they're just. I think what I would like to see is a little transformation right now in the schools itself, and realize that, you know, I know you need 18 credit hours to graduate, but can we get away with 10 and have some cores, and then, you know, let's work on some skills, some life skills, because that's what majority of these kids, these hands-on kids, boys or girls, that's what it is. But I think the schools are adapting to that. You know, we went through Vassar Public Schools and interviewed the principal there, the superintendent, and he's seeing more and more of the blue collar, and they're encouraging that. I think the schools with the what do you call the counselors? I think they're trying to find programs, whether it's through the college or apprenticeship. And I think there's more opportunity for these and the living. These kids can make great living coming out of school.
Unbelievable nowadays is what they can charge for their services, because we've left generations behind that don't know how to do anything.
Yeah.
I know our involvement with Boss Tool in the vocational schools, the high schools in the area, it's amazing. We go in there, two come to mind, Sand Lac and Huron County. We've enjoyed the interaction with the kids there, and they said they've got kids waiting in line to get in these classes nowadays.
Yeah.
That wasn't so, just not in the too distant past, you know. Mm-hmm. Everybody was pushing, well, you need to go get a 4-year degree. I mean, do you have college behind you?
I do.
Do you?
Yep.
You got a degree or?
No. I went to architecture school, Detroit Mercy. Senior status. I just never finished up. I only had, I think, 6 classes I had to finish up. But you know, at the end of the day, sometimes money runs out, and you gotta get at it. So. But
involved in the architectural schooling, that lends itself to the business that you're in right now, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it gives you a lot of insight. You know what's right. You know what's wrong.
Right.
I find that many of the young folks that go to college, after they graduate, they don't even follow up with the supposed vocation that they're trained for.
Right.
You know, this one might want to be a psychiatrist or a teacher, and they're pushing a broom at the local Meijer stores, where, you know, in the trades, man, they start day one, they're getting paid, they're learning, right? And the opportunity is limitless. I know from my perspective, I entered in the trades the day after I graduated. I say trades, I was laboring for some plasters in Midland, Michigan, and I've told this story 100 times, man. In the first hour of the day, them plasters, and they were older gentlemen at the time, they explained to me that I was an idiot, I didn't know how to do anything right, my parents didn't have nobody to live. Times back then were a lot rougher, more coarse than they are now, right?
Yeah.
But coming through the trades and learning a skill, I've been able to do very well for my family. I don't have to worry about calling somebody if I've got the ambition to pour my own concrete, to frame my own building, to shingle my own house, to run the electrical, and so on. So the trades are very, very valuable, not just for earning a living, but for doing tasks of your own without having to lay that additional money out there.
Yeah.
So have you had any females involved in your organization? Any girls come on board, ladies?
No, I mean, I'm 100% pro females coming into construction. Even the green industry, they've done studies, I believe, even for our lawn division, that females can mow lawn better than the men. Something with the hand-eye coordination. I have no idea what it's about, but yeah, I'm full. Anybody that's willing to learn and is energetic and willing to learn, let's put the time in. Yeah, I mean, but we haven't had much in our area.
So in your green business, what all is involved there? What exactly do you do there?
We mow lawn, we landscape, hardscapes, softscapes. the big push lately, ever since COVID, has been outdoor living. So we've done, that's been good collaboration between our two businesses, our two divisions of the landscaping division and the construction business, because we can put an addition on, a pergola or whatever it might be, and then landscape around it. So it's kind of start to finish. It's been kind of full circle for us on some projects.
So they piggyback one another, so to speak. There's good collaboration there. Just ability to stay in one job. I know we make more money. The longer we can stay on a project where there's obviously more volume in work, the better money we make because we don't want to have to, on our commercial construction business, we don't want to have to chase continuously, job after job after job. The boys like bigger jobs where they can settle in and they are able to make good money. So you're from Vassar, Michigan.
From Reese originally.
Reese.
Yeah. 21 years ago, I moved to Vassar with my wife. So she's from Mayville. And,
is she?
Yeah.
Well, that's where we're sitting right now.
The
big Providence, the big city, the metropolitan of Mayville, Michigan.
Yeah.
So there's not many people here, but it's a good place to
so
live.
she was going through a divorce, and she found a place in Vassar. There was kind of a tough market to find a house, and so I kind of followed her there, and we kind of built a family there in Vassar, and we've been there 21 years now.
Family, how many? You got children?
She had two boys, Jordan and Jacob, before we got married, and then we have Reese. He's 17. He's a senior right now, doing online school, and then we have a grandson that's 3.
So you're a grandpa?
I'm a grandpa, yeah,
like me.
Young grandpa. You're a young grandpa too.
Well, I don't know if I'm young, but I'm a grandpa. I never dreamed, I look at time goes by so fast.
Yeah.
I've got 5 kids, 5 in-laws. I like all of them.
Yeah.
I should say I love all of them. Sometimes I don't like all of them. You know what I mean? They might just rub me the wrong way. And I've got 10 grandkids, and I got an 11th one on the way.
That's
the beauty
amazing.
of the grandkids right now is they're young and dumb. Mm-hmm. They think grandpa is the greatest thing on the face of the earth. I tell them so many stories, and my wife, grandma, she just rolls her eyes and says, Dan, don't be telling them that stuff.
Uh-huh.
So your one son that's 17, do you envision him in getting involved in the business, or do you think he'll go a different path in life, or what do you think?
He's a computer guy. He's an IT guy. I kind of thought he would kind of go in the excavating part of it a little bit because of the hand-eye coordination with the joysticks and that, but he's not the blue-collar type, but he'll find his way. And I always brought the boys in, and I encouraged them to do what we do,
right?
But sometimes they're just not that way. Like our oldest boy lives in Tennessee, Jordan, and he works with GM, and that's fine. That's his lane. Jacob, our middle son, he works in the excavating division, but he's always been hands-on in the dirt, and he's worked on a farm, so he's always been with that equipment, so he just enjoyed it. So, and then our little Langston, he's our 3-year-old grandson. He's with myself or his dad, and we're in equipment. He was driving tractor the other day at 3. I shouldn't probably say that, but he's not scared. I'm not scared. So just.
Right. So what type of equipment do you run? Do you run bigger equipment? Do you run the smaller stuff? What do you specialize in your landscaping business?
Landscaping business, we're kind of everything. We just run the mini
excavation.
Excavation, yeah. That goes back to with the construction part of it. It seemed like we were always waiting on everybody's schedule, More time you can keep things going and moving. I was like, and we did a little bit of that dirt work with the timber oaks and our landscaping. I'm like, I think I can get an operator here and just buy the next size piece of equipment. We can make a go at it,
right?
Do
you buy skid steers, track units, mini excavators? What do you got?
Got a little everything. We got a big 315 excavator. We got a dozer. Got a dump truck, you gotta have all this stuff. We got a mini, we got a skid steer. Yeah, it seems like every time I think we're good, we got to buy something else. The guys are like, oh, we need a set of trains next year. We need a semi with, it's like.
But the right equipment is how you make money.
Right.
I mean, when you're trying to make it without the right equipment, it's a never-ending battle.
Yeah.
I mean, you might as well get the right stuff if you can, if it makes sense. So.
Yeah, Tino Piazza.
I do.
Yeah, when we first started a landscape business, he had a couple dump trailers. I'm like, you mind if I borrow your dump trailer? And he goes to me one day and he's like, you know what? You might want to think about just buying your own trailer if you think you need it every day. And I was like, we were just starting out. We were dumb. Right. We were in our 20s. They're like, he has a good point. I think I might need to buy a dump trailer because I need it every day for my business. So,
Right.
And I think that's what you got to do is kind of evaluate what you need on an everyday business, and some things you need right away, and some things you just can get by. So,
Right. And as you said a few moments ago, it helps move the job along.
Right.
You're not waiting on that guy with a mini excavator or a skid steer to flatten something out or to lift something. You've got it right there.
Yeah.
And you can make things happen.
but at the other end, you can be upside down because you bought a bunch of equipment. So,
You got to be able to keep it moving, right?
yeah.
You just can't have
Well,
that.
somebody asked me the other day, is like, where's our equipment? It's not at the yard. I said, well, if it's at my yard, I'm not making no money because it needs to be at a job site.
So what do you think the future holds? What do you think the future holds for the trades? I mean, if you were to sit down with yourself at 20 years old, looking back, would you say go after it sooner? The future's bright, or do you think we've hit a peak where it's going to tail off? Or just in general, what does the future offer people? What does the future of the trades offer people out there?
Yeah, if I look back, I should have went into trades right away after school. We went into a little bit of school debt going into college, but I knew in my mind that I needed to go in the trades. It just wasn't promoted back then. So I think of the opportunity, if you think there's an opportunity, there's plenty of opportunities just to even work for somebody, apprenticeship. There's endless options. I really encourage our youth or even middle-aged guys, if you need a career change, there's jobs out there. And if you got a common sense, there's opportunity for growth for anybody.
Common sense. That is a rough character to find, isn't it, at times?
It is. But yeah, I kind of thought things would kind of slow down after COVID because we were in Frankenmuth and I owned a building downtown Vassar. So we moved to Vassar because I was like, well, we can ride out the slow times since I have no overhead in our building in Vassar. But it actually worked the other way. We got more exposure on a busy street. And then I was like, we just had an election here. I'm like, well, things are going to tighten up again, and we have not seen that as well. So things still seem like they're pretty strong. I encourage anybody to go in the trades. The only thing I would say is, if you want to go on your own, get some time under somebody.
Experience.
Yes.
Got to learn.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're not going to survive if you're trying to make it up.
No, if you're 12 years old and going to business, you're not going to make it, right?
Yeah.
But if you've got some time under your belt, you're 30, 35 years old, you're proficient at the trades, I think then, from my opinion, it's a good time to try to step out and see if you got it in you to do it, right?
Yeah.
Those additional hours and...
Well, that's where you figure out yourself, We'll go work your 9 to 5 at your job, but do some evening jobs, do some Saturday work, and see if being your own boss is beneficial. So
Right. I know on the podcast here, Born Here, Built Here, a big push is American made. But even closer to home, why should people consider keeping their money in Vassar? Close, in a close proximity. The same question could be asked of me. Why do business around Mayville? What would you say to that?
Because it's a small business owners that give back to our community. Where I don't see too many Walmarts or Kroger's on the stands in the Little League fields. I just don't see that. But you're going to see the IRD homes or the Boss Hammers on the Little League banners. You're going to see the True Values or in the Vassar Billing Centers and those guys. So, and I think it's we all bail to Amazon, right? Yeah. But there's I'm sure that you probably can sell some Boss Hammers on Amazon, but there are local guys that sell those hammers and I got a fuel can the other day for our jet ski, and I wanted a specific fuel can, and I knew it was a special order, and I could have got it on Amazon, but I went down to their True Value and I said, hey, can you get this fuel can? I think it was a wash for price, but I know that if I'm going to buy it from a local guy, it's supporting local families that work there, and that business is probably going to give back to our community in some way or another. So
I agree. I had this conversation, I believe, within the last 7 days with one or two of my daughters. We were talking about, we have equipment that goes down just like you do. And I said, the gentleman's name is Rob, Vassar Auto in Vassar.
Oh, yeah, Rob, yeah.
And I said, I don't care what the price is, you just call Rob and say, I need an oil change, I need a filter.
Yeah.
Because we believe in supporting local people. Like you said, they're the ones, local businesses, they're the ones that support the local Little League teams, right? Yeah. They'll help sponsor the car shows downtown and stuff like that. It's so important that we keep things local as much as possible. And then beyond that, Made in America. Mm-hmm. We're big on Made in America. I just don't understand people that are willing to sacrifice, I think, to a point, the security of this country and export our jobs overseas because they want to save a few bucks.
Right.
I mean, we're basically paying for our own demise, you know? Mm-hmm. If at all possible, I believe that people should try to buy American-made products. Yes, they have to be of good quality, and you just can't skin somebody because you say, well, it's American-made.
Right.
So we are definitely proponents of the American-made values out there.
Yeah.
Hey, Corey, you said early on in the conversation that you were getting educated in architecture, you know, diving into the books, learning what you needed to learn. Was there a specific time in your life where you said, you know what, maybe I just need to go out in the trades, maybe I need to go into business?
Yeah, no, that was good. So originally went to architecture school, worked at Weber Lumber as on their design. You remember Weber Lumber?
I do.
Yeah.
Did business with them.
Back when Donnie was there, and then it got bought out a few times, but that's where I met my wife. So,
okay.
And then, so I went after the lumberyard closed, I went on my own and we did design work. And then we've done design work for 20 years. So, but the time came that I'd had contractors ask me about, can you come out to the site? I got some questions how this thing comes together. I have this question, or like I go out to the job site and I drew this blueprint or this design, and I'm like, man, it's just not getting executed the way that I wanted to, is the OCD and the details that I wanted.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, well, I started doing a couple kitchens and a couple bathrooms, and that's how it all started. I just wanted to control the end product a little bit better, and I thought by having my own guys and following through and following up every day and talking to the client that I could take whatever we design on paper and just bring that to reality. And that's really what branched us to get into that blue collar trades, hands-on, and that's where I went from pen to paper to, you know, hammer in hands. And so
it was a good decision.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it was a wise decision to say it's time to move on and do it a little bit different. So what's been the toughest time for you in business? After you decide, well, we're going to put a shingle out, we're going to go into business, what was the toughest obstacle or time period?
I think it's still time. I mean, for us, it's cash flow. You know, I think cash flow will kill any business. And I don't think people understand that, you know, we got 26 employees and they got payroll and we got bills at the end of the month. And if we don't stay on top of that, it's a disaster for failure. So,
it's pretty tough if you ever have to go to your employees, and I'm thankful we never have had to, and say, hey, I can't pay you this week because, as you said, they've got bills, they've got families that they're responsible to. So cash flow is a huge thing to stay on top of. Yeah. Got to make sure you got that money coming and going, right? You want more to stick than leaves. Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so like with your Boss Hammers, Dan, like how did you evolve that whole process? Because, you know, I look at it, I'm a trim guy, so I'm just thinking, you know, I just got a little put trim hammer in there, but I mean, your hammers are multi versatile, and they are. Like, how did that all come to be?
You know, I've got an active mind, and I've always been committed to always trying to shave time on the jobs. As I've told people time and time again, the more functions that you can incorporate in a tool, there's money to be made there, right?
Yeah.
Driving down the road in the spring of 2019, looking at a hammer, I was going to check commercial construction jobs, and I don't know, my mind was wandering, and I looked at a hammer, and I thought, I think I can make a hammer into a squaring system. So, you know, we started there, and it's been over 4 years with a evolving process, you know, going from hickory handles with a steel head. We were able to win the Invention of the Year at the Made in America show. We evolved to polyfiberglass handles on steel heads. Then we went to titanium headed hammers, and then we went to full frame titanium with our version of the cat's paw, which is the boss paw.
Yeah.
We've, mini mixing paddles. We've got many other things. We're evolving from, we always say boss hammer. We're evolving from boss hammer to boss tool because we're bringing more products to the market. And we never, ever, ever waver, and I will never waver on American made. Because if anybody's going to profit from sending this stuff overseas, it might be me making more money, but it's not going to benefit that fellow citizen down the road that's looking for a job. You know, it comes full circle. You know, we keep the money here, right in the States. I'm so proud that the majority of all of our components come right within the state of Michigan. We've got one outlier, I guess it would be our hickory handles that come out of Arkansas from Bowman Hickory Handles. But it's been a journey, and my kids say I've got too active a mind because I get these ideas, and people here in the shop, I'll come out and I'll say, "What do you guys think about this?" And my boys, especially, I don't remember which one of them. They said, "Dad, just take a Benadryl and go to bed." You know what I mean? You got to quit thinking about some of this stuff. But it just makes sense to me. I always joke also that the laziest guy always figures out the easiest way. We always want to know, how can we do this just a little bit better, because seconds add up to minutes, minutes to hours, hours to days, days to weeks to months, and months to year. And on the bottom line, in the construction world or just our life in general, everything is about time, right? And I would rather save time on the jobs or a task so I could spend my time however I want, screwing around with the grandkids, right? Tell them goofy stories or something.
Yeah, I mean, you're not, like, I don't want to take this offensively, but no spring chicken. So, I mean, how do you, don't you feel like sometimes you're a little late in the game to say, let's make a...
You know what? I can honestly say, this has crossed my mind. I would be lying if I said, "Man, I wish I would have thought of this 20 years earlier." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because people, you just asked me before, Dan, you seem like you're a little bit excited or whatever. Some people say, "Well, you're intense, Dan."
Yeah.
I had a lot more intensity 20 years ago. On the construction jobs, these guys get a kick and they talk to my boys, and the guy goes, "Man, he's mellowed." Yeah, I wish I would have. I wish the good Lord had put this in my mind 20 years ago, but there's a reason it was put in my mind in my late 50s.
Right.
So now we're going to build this thing. I intend on it being generational work and go from Dan Raymond and Paula Raymond to these kids and hopefully grandkids and beyond. I think the future is very, very bright for Made in America. Not just Made in America with Boss, but Made in America anything.
Yeah.
We can make anything here in the U.S. better than anybody else. I'm so proud to be an American. I will never, ever, ever apologize for being an American. I tell people, they get me going. I goes, you know what? I never ran out on a basketball court or anything and said, "I suck, I'm number 2." We were the best. Whether we were or not, in our minds, we were the best, right?
Yeah.
And I want to instill that in my kids and my grandkids and people that are around me. You can be the best, right? We might get beat occasionally, but then we're going to go back and we're going to practice.
Yeah.
So we can be the best. So, yeah, to your point, I'm not a spring chicken, but this chicken, I hope, still got a lot of life in him, right? I can still crow.
You got a lot of fight in you.
I can still crow every once in a while.
Well, that's cool. You're thinking of generational, because I think about that sometimes too, where people ask me, they're like, "Well, you going to pass this down to your kids?" And I'm like, I don't think my kids want anything to do with it, and but I think for you with Boss, you call it Boss Hammers, but really you're creating the brand Boss. Even your dog's name is Boss, right?
Yeah, my dog's name is Boss. Yep.
It's nice that you can put systems together that it can be generational, and that's exciting. Right. It's like, not everybody wants to hang drywall or put ceilings up, just like nobody wants to always swing a hammer or dig a hole, but you're creating something, so that's exciting. So good for you. And it's staying right here, because we talked about where you're getting a lot of your resources from. It's literally, 30-minute drive from here is a lot of your products and your vendors. So that's kudos to you.
Keep it local. I hope I'm a good example to family and friends and future generations and stuff about how to go out there and how to do it. I like to dream about what potential there is for not just me, for my family. I tell people, I don't need a whole lot in life. I mean, if I've got enough money for a dozen worms and new fishing line and a bobber and buy treats for the grandkids, I can go sit in a creek bed and have a good time, just as long as the kids ship me some money every once in a while, right?
Right.
But I think that's another thing. We as men need to set good examples.
I agree.
We need to sit down and we need to talk to our sons and our daughters. First of all, tell our daughters how pretty they are, how much you like them, and I tell my daughters and my granddaughters, you can get the pick of the litter. What I mean by that is you don't need to sell yourself short, right?
Right.
You can get the best of the best. My sons, be a man, work hard. That's another whole thing I can preach on. What's a man? Just because you have physical components don't make you a man. You know what I mean? There's a lot of other things that come to manhood. Being self-reliant, sticking to your word, knowing the basics in life. I'm amazed being in the trades, even the guys in the trades that can't go home and they can't plant a garden, they can't change a tire, they can't tune a vehicle up, they don't know how to do anything. And I think that's all part of a component to being a man. I'm thankful for the way I was raised. My dad raised me tough, and I'm thankful for that. I mean, people nowadays, I tell the story about when I was 11 years old. I was 11, my brother was 12. My dad worked as a plant manager or foreman for General Motors, and we were baling hay, 11 and 12 years old. And my dad's idea of baling hay was get the hottest day of the year.
Well, of course, yeah.
Crank the baler down so you could get as much in the bale as you could get. Mm-hmm. We showed up in the field, and me and my brother, 11 and 12, I got to justify my position here, folks. 11 and 12 years old, the bales were so heavy, we could not lift them on the wagon. Mm-hmm. We were crying because we couldn't lift them. And my dad, and I think the world of my dad, and he said, "You two little babies can go home to your mother." Do you think I left the field? Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. I figured out how to get it done.
Yeah.
How to dig in, dig deep, and he never had to worry from 11 years old on to know if I was tough enough, whether it was in the hayfield or in the workplace.
Yeah, or in life, yeah.
I smile, guys in the job now. It's too hot, it's too cold, it's too sunny, it's too cloudy, it's too dry, it's too rainy, it's too windy, it's too far away. I'm tired. Man up. Mm-hmm. It's time. So, yeah, back to your point, the spring chicken's still ready to go. This not spring chicken is ready to go.
Yeah, you got a lot of fire in the belly still. I like it.
Well, good. Your IRD homes, as I said earlier, where have you been, where are you at, and where are you going? Tell us what your plan is. I mean, where are you at right now? What's your plan for the future in your businesses that you're involved in?
That's a great question. I don't really know. I obviously we have got goals as business owners, but a lot of people ask me, "Are you driven by money? Are you driven by that?" I feel like we put a good product out there, and we're conscious of what we're doing. I think great things will happen, and I think things have happened that way because we're just conscious of what we're doing and not always looking at that bottom dollar. And I think people just have to get away from that sometimes and just be conscious of what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And we started a podcast this last year, and we want to tell entrepreneur stories just like you. Right. Tell me the last 25 years of your journey. Tell me the last 5 years of the journey of Boss Hammers. We want to, and it's like you said, it's everybody in our backyard. We didn't even know. I mean, right. we're in the middle of the woods here in Mayville. Right. Mayville. And you have an amazing product and a great story to tell. And that's one thing that we're trying to get out there, and we want to tell people's story. Whether even if they, we're generational. There's some people's story that we share that it was 6 years, Wingerts, they've had great story, but it came time that they sold and they moved on. But they had so many relationships over the last 60 plus years that we wanted to share that story, and those are what we want to get out there, and it might be a new story, so we're excited about that journey. We're not sure where that's going to take us, and that's the thing is sometimes I don't try and put a deadline or some unobtainable goal, but we just go at it every day and have fun doing it. Right. So
well, I think that's key. You got to stay after every day. But Corey, I'd like to thank you for your time. This has been very enjoyable learning about you and your life and your endeavors. After the podcast here, we've got a little hammer skills contest. I'd invite you to try. We have a lot of fun with this thing.
Right. I'm in the office quite a bit now.
Me too. But we can at least laugh and joke about it. But all right. Once again, thank you for your time.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
So we're going to highlight the features of our hammer. I get to pre-start 3 16-penny nails. I can only hit the head of that nail one time to pre-start it. I'm going to put the hammer in the holster here. Then this is what we're going to do. I'm going to hit the button, timer goes off. I'm going to square a 90. I'm going to drive in those 3 nails right there. I'm going to put the cap on like this. Pop them in, spin the hammer around, break it loose, and hit the button and done. Got it?
I got it.
All right. So, here we go. There you go. Put that in your right hand. Good luck, young man.
How many people have done this? What's the fastest time?
Sub 9 seconds.
15 seconds or so.
Oh, I feel like I could do 15
What can
seconds.
you do? What can you do? How much time? You're gonna get a hammer on this deal.
I'm lucky 13.
13.
Is that?
You guys heard that? 13 seconds.
Is that feasible?
Oh yeah, we've done faster than that. But go ahead.
All right.
All right.
We know faster.
I'm gonna give you 2 tries. Okay?
All right.
So whenever you're ready,
I'm kind of nervous.
go.
Oh. Dang, it's cheating on me.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, there you go. You got it. You got it. Spin it around, break it loose.
This is harder than you think.
Grab the holster. Hit the button. What do you got? What do you got? 1903.
1903.
That's fair for my first.
Okay.
That's fair for my first one.
That's pretty good.
All right. I feel like I come over here every night and practice this. I'm not
You're
gonna
welcome
lie.
to. We'd love that. We know how much fun we'd have together. Boy, there'd be a lot of laughing and giggling
Hey,
going
let's
on.
just go to the trade show. That sounds like more fun.
Oh,
You need volunteers for that?
oh yeah. We're gonna pay big money on this. So do you like where those caps are right there, Corey?
Yeah, I love it.
You like, okay, I'm gonna put this right here for you, okay?
All right.
I'm gonna make sure this is tight here.
Yep.
Yep, nope.
Okay, it only goes the one way.
No, you can square it both ways, but this is the fastest way. If you grab it just like this and pull on it like that, draw the line and drop the pencil.
All right.
Okay.
What was my time last time? 13?
1903.
I don't know if I could do night 13.
Come on.
Oh, you
lied
could
to me.
easily.
You tripped up on a few things. You could
Yeah.
That's all right.
All right.
Are we zeroed?
All right. I gotta stage this right. Oh, you have that.
I have that there, so it's magnetized.
Oh.
You can put it wherever you want, though.
All right. What's the fastest way to put that on? Just set it right in there?
Yep. Push
Oh, yeah.
down on the
Push down
hammer.
if you can.
Yeah, okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right.
Yep, just like that. All right, Corey, go.
That was crooked. Oh, lost some time.
You're good.
Oh.
Break loose.
Double one.
You're doing good.
Ah!
Drop it, drop it. What do we got? What do we got?
1897.
Jeez.
Shaved off 6 seconds.
Good job, Corey.
That was a good time.
Good job.
Jeez.
We got you a hammer coming.